Okay, so what is the proper way to shop around for a lender? Now, this might be controversial because I'm gonna obviously biased. I'm a mortgage lender. So from that standpoint, me telling you how to shop around for a lender, I'm gonna try to give you some general information, but at the same time, I am gonna give you my opinion as to what's important because I think it's the same as getting any product. The number one rule in buying something is you always get what you pay for. That is just the rule. I didn't make it up. It is what it is. I think it's a universal law. If you buy a really inexpensive, or I wouldn't even say inexpensive, if you buy a really cheap car, it's gonna drive like a really cheap car. If you buy a Mercedes or a BMW, it's gonna drive like a Mercedes or a BMW. That's just kind of how it goes, right? So there's no in between, there's no difference from the mortgage standpoint. So I have three things that I like my clients to focus on. And this is when I'm giving them general information when they bring up, hey, Mike, we've loved working with you so far, but we're talking to some other lenders. I kind of actually take my personal hat off and I put more on a consultation hat and just say, hey, at the end of the day, this is my advice. It doesn't mean that it's right for you. This is just how I feel about it. And this is what I would want someone to give me for advice on the back end. So the first thing that you want to check in with from the standpoint of finding the right lender, not necessarily finding the right rate, but finding the right lender, is what is their process? How are they helping you not only get a mortgage, but how are they helping you ultimately understand what you're getting, why you're getting it, the reason why you should structure a loan the way that you're structuring it, how they can help you strategically in the marketplace, win an offer, have the right reputation. It goes a lot deeper than just the interest rate. Sometimes you could structure a loan, have a higher interest rate, have a different structure than someone else with a lower rate, end up with a lower payment, usually is related to mortgage insurance, or just have a different way of doing things that's not necessarily rate important, but you gotta ask those right questions, right? You've gotta ask, what does it look like working with you, right? I think there's two archetypes of lenders out there. There's order takers and guides. Order taker is gonna look like going to McDonald's. It's gonna look like, I want the number two, please give me the number two. The person's gonna go, here's your number two, have a good day. There's not gonna be a, why are you getting the number two today? Is that really what you want? Are you sure you want the number two? How hungry are you? Would you rather maybe have the one and the three, or this, or that? Have you looked at the full menu? Nope, it's gonna be, make your order, please drive around, here you go, here's your pre-approval, here's your closing costs, here's your low interest rate that you asked for, and I hope you have fun finding a house. They're gonna be just order takers. It's gonna be their way of doing things, and if you've shopped around to lenders, you've probably experienced that process before. You reach out, they send you an application, they don't really wanna have a phone call with you, they don't wanna spend a lot of time with you, they don't wanna figure out exactly what you're trying to do or anything along those lines, they don't wanna really be a guide, they want to be an order taker. They want to just open your file, close a loan, move on to the next one. They're very transactional from that standpoint. They might have a really good rate, but that might not be the lender that's best for you because they might not be able to help you strategically with, how can you structure an appraisal gap? How can you go a little bit above your asking price and still end up with a good payment and spend the same amount of money out of pocket? How can you, close quickly, and what's the process look like? And they're not gonna put a lot of effort in there. They're gonna approach it like McDonald's, and they're not gonna approach it like grandma's homemade cooking on a Sunday afternoon that takes the entire day just to get the meat sauce ready and everything turning out the way that you want it to turn out. You're just not gonna get that. So that's the number one thing, is you wanna figure out the type of lender they are, unrelated to their terms and fees. You wanna talk to the loan officer, and ideally you're getting one loan officer, right? If you're calling into a lender or a bank and you're getting moved around, shuffled around during the pre-approval process, and you're already head spinning and you're like, I talked to this person today, and then this person, and then that person, and someone else, and I don't know who my loan officer really is, and I just keep getting quotes and it's different quote every time from the different people, and I don't know what's going on. You're buying a house. It's a big process. It is not something that you want to just throw spaghetti against the wall when the time really matters. It's not a bad idea once you have a good loan officer to throw spaghetti against the wall on different structures of what's 5% down, 10, 20, 25% down, paying points, not paying points, 30-year fix, 15, adjustable. That's when you want to throw spaghetti, because and that's not throwing bad spaghetti. That is just, what is right for me. You don't want to be throwing spaghetti and just not even knowing what you qualify for, what your options are. So that's the first thing. Figure out what type of lender you have. Now, the second thing is, do they have the right program that you're looking for, right? And this also goes with if they're a order taker or a guide, because a guide is going to not approach helping you as a biased salesperson, because you can't help someone if you're being biased and you're only trying to sell them something. Helping and selling, I think, are two completely different words and apply completely different, particularly in the realm of getting a mortgage. Selling someone is widgets and here's the rate, and you're selling, right? It's a different thing, it's a different vibe, feeling, outcome, all of that. Helping someone is asking questions, investigating them. What are you looking for? What's your best outcome? Where do you see yourself in 5 years? Is it a forever home? Is it a starter home? Do you plan on buying investment properties? Do you have other money in the bank for savings? Where's your payment ideally gonna land? It's actually gathering the right information as a loan officer to ultimately, at the end of the day, when you sit down with that client and say, hey, this is what I think is good for you, because I'm here to help you. I'm not selling you something. I'm here to give you the best advice. And maybe sometimes, and I have this happen to me all the time, if I don't have the right structure or product or program, a lot of times I tell my clients, I'm not the best fit for you. You're looking for something different. I'm not gonna try to sell you something you don't want. I think people are really sick of that, right? It happens when you go to try to buy a car. You go to a dealership and they don't have the car you want. And the old way of that being handled by the dealership was they try to put you in a car that you don't want because they just want to make the sale. They're not really trying to help you get into a car that makes you happy. They see you as a number. You showed up on their dealership. They spent money in advertising to get you to show up on their dealership. They need to sell you a car. Otherwise they lost money. I get it. I understand the, reason behind that, but that's not helping someone. That's selling someone something, right? That's, you came in today for a white minivan with 40,000 miles. We don't have any white minivans with 40,000 miles, but I have a black commuter car with 80,000 miles. Let's drive that. It's like, no, that's not what I'm here for. I'm just gonna go to the other deal. I just looked online. They have the other one up the street. I'll just go there. And then they add the pressure and you're like, ugh, this feels gross. I don't wanna do that. I know dealerships are getting a little bit away from that, but that's the big difference, right? Is your lender a salesperson or are they a guide? Are they willing to tell you, it's happened a lot in this rate market, local banks have had really, really aggressive adjustable rate mortgages. When I have a client that comes to me for an adjustable rate mortgage, and to me, the way that I view that is the benefit of getting an adjustable rate mortgage is you get a really aggressive interest rate. If I don't have an option at that time that's really aggressive, I'm spraying off a list of, hey, these banks I know are pretty aggressive on the adjustable rate mortgage and I don't have what you're looking for. I'm not gonna try to sell you something I don't have that you're looking for. We'll go over it with you as to, do you really want the adjustable? Are you sure? Here's the viewpoint, here's what to look out for in terms of how people might sell you the adjustable rate mortgage. It's not really about the payment difference during the duration of time. You really got to understand the risk you're signing up for. There's no guarantee to refinance. I'm giving general, unbiased knowledge about what they might get, even if the outcome isn't working with me. That is someone that helps. Okay, so that's the first thing. The second thing is the programs and what they have available, and that kind of goes in with the first thing, and I kind of mentioned that and I'm repeating myself. So the third thing then is rates and terms, right? And I think there's a happy medium of everything I just went over, and having a good guide, having someone that's got your back, that's giving you general information, isn't selling you something, and then maybe they do have good rates, good programs that can help you stick out in the marketplace, good closing costs and terms. And I'm saying good, I'm not saying the best or the lowest, right? Because and there's no right or wrong with any of this is just my opinion, and this is what I tell my clients when they're shopping around, if they end up in that space, is you might just want the lowest rate possible and you don't care what the service looks like. You could not care at all. and you're like, yeah, I don't care if I'm getting McDonald's of the mortgage world. I just want the lowest rate, and I am going to dive the depths of internet hell to find that low rate, and that's what I want. Don't care what the process looks like. Don't care if I don't even close because I got the low rate even though I didn't close. That's fine. Then go that route. If you are looking for the service, someone having your back, I think you look for a value rate. And what I mean by a value rate is you kind of use the hedge comparison of, well, the lowest rate available, and I know I'm not going to get really good service. I'm not going to get that white glove. I'm not going to get extra treatment. I'm not going to have someone that I can ask questions to and really, have a guide that's going to walk me through things that I can trust and do all of that. I know I'm going to have to do more of the work myself. That might be your starting point. And then there's also a rate that's way too high, that's way outside of the market. Let's say, for example, right now rates are 6.8%. And let's say you can talk to an online discount lender that's 6.375, well below the market. And then there's another lender that's at like 7.25, right? That in the middle spot of someone I could trust, they're gonna do a good job for me. They're strategically in my corner to help me win and help me get a competitive rate. They're at 6.75. I found a rate at 6.375, but I don't feel like I can trust them. I'm getting bad answers, so on and so forth. And then there's someone at 7.25 who really has a good process, really structured, but that might be overpaying for a process I don't really need, right? I think it's the same, and I think the best thing you could do is use everyday consumer interactions that you're more familiar with. It's the cheapest to get dropped off at the airport by a friend, and you could just give them gas money, right? But then you gotta find that friend. That's like the discount on, like, if I can have the friend that's like, hey, I'll give you $10 for gas, you drive me to the airport, right? Simple, cheap, easy, reliable, good. If you can find that, great. Middle of the ground is maybe I can Uber gets you there, you're good. Costs a little bit more money than giving the friend some money to drive you because the friend's doing you a favor. It's kind of a freebie. You're just paying for the gas to get them there. There's no profit involved. Your friend's not like, hey dude, the gas is $5. You gotta give me at least 15 for my time, right? It's not really a friend. I'd say you check that friend at the door. And then the Uber guy costs you 20, 30 bucks. You're paying for that added benefit. If I don't have any friends available and I need this now, Uber is here now, right? And then I'd say all the way to that next level of service is you hire a limo driver. Limo driver to bring you to the airport is probably a couple $100, right? Do you need that extra service of having a fun limo driver? Probably not. That's probably the very rare situation, circumstances, particularly with mortgages. But maybe you need the Uber situation of getting to the airport, of, I want to know this is reliable. I can check your stars. You have 5 stars. You're a good driver. I know you'll pick me up. If you don't pick me up, Uber will replace you with someone else. They'll pick me up. They'll get me there on time. I'm not waiting for my friend. If my friend can come, that would be great, but it's hard to get the freebies. There's risk there because you got to find the friend. It's not the same reliance in the middle. I think that's the same outcome, again, in my opinion, of getting a mortgage, is the standpoint of right in the middle value, right? It isn't a discount lender, because a discount lender, you're gonna get discount process. It just is what it is. It isn't the over extravagant white glove, I'm paying a lot of money for this, I'm getting a higher rate, but I'm being sold that it's so good and such this great service and all of these things. It's somewhere in the middle. I have a trusted professional loan officer who really, really dives into the craft of understanding mortgages, understanding the real estate process in their market, understanding how people need extra guidance, and you need every edge you can get in this market to try to stand out and win offers. You need that extra little bit, but you don't want to overpay for it. It's somewhere in the middle. That's, if rates are 6.8%, maybe not 7.25, 6.375 is the discount person. Maybe you're looking at someone between 6.625 and 7%, right? And then you want to just justify the value. And that's why you ask, what does working with you look like? A good professional loan officer should be able to explain their process to you pretty quickly. They should have it down. They should know their elevator pitch to you as to, this is why you work with me. It's probably not going to be the interest rate. A good loan officer, it's not going to be the rates and the fees. It's not going to be selling you widgets. It's going to be everything that I just kind of explained from the standpoint of, I'm going to be in your corner. I'm going to help you win. I know what it takes to win in this market. I know how to structure your loan so that at the end of the day, that if I say you qualify, you qualify. There's no guessing. There's no guesswork involved. I know exactly what we need to do to go from here, which is I don't have a house, to here, which is you're closed. That's really what you're paying for. I say to my realtor partners and to clients all the time, it's not my money. I'm not giving it to you. At the end of the day, I'm not selling you any widgets. I'm selling you my process. And my process is a bridge. You're here and you want to get here. I'm the in the middle, right? That's what good loan officers do, is they sell you the bridge. They say, this is how you get from here to here, and I have a button down way of doing it. I've built the bridge. I know it's strong, sturdy, ready to go. It has all the right support, plenty of lanes. I know exactly what we're doing to get across it. There's no guesswork here. We're not flying blind, right? The discount lender can't do that. They cannot build a strong structural bridge that way, just based on how their business functions. They are jumping over pennies to save pennies, right? It's like everything else you're getting. That's why when you order McDonald's, there is no extra oomph to try to get you to do anything else. It's just, thank you for your order, have a good day. You go to a really nice restaurant, they're gonna be selling you some desserts. They're gonna be hyping you up, having some fun. They know you're there for the experience, right? You're gonna pay way more than you would at McDonald's, but the steak is probably substantially better. You're gonna have a better time. McDonald's is food. It just kind of gets the job done. And if anyone from McDonald's sees this, please don't sue me.